Mr. Chair, I move approval of the agenda as presented.
Have a second? Second. All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion is carried. All right. Turn it over to county manager.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
We have reached the moment, I don't want to say the moment of no return because that's when you adopt the budget, but this is the final budget workshop unless you all decide that you want to meet again. But that would have to be another special call meeting between now and our next scheduled meeting, which should be on June 2nd. I do have a couple of adjustments that were made since the last budget meeting, budget workshop, which was on May 5th. And that's what I have presented before you on this first sheet. It was all the changes. There are just a few changes, and I'm just going to go through each one of them. There it goes. Because I know that spreadsheet is kind of small, so in the event the viewers and the audience can't see, they can at least hear what the adjustments were for this go around. The first adjustment was basically a wash between the tax department and the Register of Deeds. We had a transition of employees, a swap, if you want to call it. So we had one employee move from the tax department and one employee moved from the Register of Deeds, and they were swapped in each department. So you can see the difference between those two. I showed the original proposed budget and the new budget, which is now reflected on the ordinance. There's a $12,115 adjustment. One department going up, which is the tax department, the other department going down, which is Register of Deeds. So those, again, they wash. So no impact on the annual ordinance. The second adjustment was in the public safety sector, the ambulance. We had a $7,000 increase, and that increase is for the not new billing company, but for the billing company, they changed the reimbursement rate from 5.2% to 5.9%. But that, even with that $7,000, we are projecting $1 million more in revenue for fiscal 26. So we have more than enough revenue to absorb that. So we wanted to make sure we made that adjustment in the ordinance. And then the final adjustment for general funds came in the economic physical development section, cooperative extension. If you can recall, they came up and they were looking for a vehicle, and we're basically budgeting for a lease of a van. That's the $10,000 is the annual lease. We did that based on looking at a max payment for a van of $50,000, which is pretty much reasonable when you consider what vehicles are going for nowadays. And
You said lease, right, Mr.?
a lease, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
So the total of those three transactions were $17,000. We started out the day with 43,618,000, and we ended up with 43,635,000. Adjustments to the general fund area. And then in the proprietary funds, solid waste, we had an adjustment for solid waste. We have a contract that will be presented to you on, I believe it's tonight, or if it hasn't been presented, it was last week. But it's for the solid waste, it's for the permit of the solid waste landfill area, and it's a requirement to have this analysis done, and it's done like every 3 to 5 years, but you should have the details in your budget package. So I wanted to make sure that the number was in here so that if you all approve it, which I mean, it's mandatory. It's federal government mandatory that we do this. I wanted to make sure that that's included in the budget. Now, the way solid waste works, if I have to go find 35,000, I have to offset it with something. So as you see below, those brackets, that right below, those are the areas that we took monies away from to be able to afford that $35,000. So solid waste, they don't have a fund balance, and they don't have a projected cushion or profit for next year. So we basically adjusted those expense line items so that we could pay for that 35,000. And again, this only occurs every 3 to 5 years. I can't remember exactly if it's 3 or 5, but it's in the documentation that you all will have tonight. And then the final adjustment was made to our debt service for the Fund 62, that's Garysburg Water and Sewer. It was a minor adjustment of $207, but we wanted to make sure it was exactly the amount that's shown on the debt instrument. So we wanted to make sure it was quoted at 24,348 and not 24,141. So we adjusted the ordinance to show the correct interest payment on that debt. Those are all of the adjustments I have since we've been speaking, since we've done the budget workshops. So basically tonight, again, unless you all have something that you need me to look into, this will be the last workshop. If you look on your schedule, and I've included in your packet the budget calendar. I believe it's the last page of your packet. You can see that this was workshop number 3, and then on June 2nd, we're calling for requesting a public hearing on the budget, and that's when we give the public an opportunity to come up and speak to the budget before you all. And right after that, we then go to June 16th. And again, after June 2nd, if you all still don't have any adjustments, or if you have any adjustments, we still have time to make changes, but then we have the adoption on the 16th. And then July 1st, we start the budget year. So that's all I have for tonight. As I said, it was pretty much, pretty quick, but I still wanted to, even though they look like minor adjustments, I want everyone to know if we're changing the numbers, I want y'all to know why we're changing those numbers.
Does anyone have any questions for the county manager? Okay, all right, good question.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, could I have a motion to adjourn the work session?
Mr. Chairman, I move we adjourn the work session.
Could I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion is carried. Work session is over, and we will start at 6 o'clock for the regular meeting. So we will recess until then. We'll begin with a moment of silence. Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have the agenda here in front of you. We need to get approval of the agenda, but I know there are some changes. Have you got all those, Vice Chair?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the agenda with the deletion of items number 12, modification request for funding wastewater system extension, the removal of item number 13, Northampton County River Road Sewer, and we need additional information. All right.
Removal of 8.
Removal of item number 8, the PCI Group General Service Agreement. Also, Mr. Chairman, move item number 14, Health Department matters up to item number 7. And item 7 becomes item number 8.
Right.
And item 8 needs to be an action item because there are matters that need to be taken care of this week.
Do we have a second to that agenda changes? Okay. Motion been seconded. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor of approving the agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, Barnex Taylor.
Aye. All opposed? None? Motion is carried. Agenda is approved as amended. Next item is conflict of interest statements.
In accordance with the rules of procedures adopted by this board in section 153A-44 of the North Carolina General Statutes, it is the duty of every member present to vote on all matters coming before the board, unless there is a conflict of interest as determined by the board or by law. Does any board member have a conflict of interest with respect to any agenda item coming before the board today? If so, please identify the conflict and the board will consider the matter. No conflict here, Mr. Chairman.
No conflict, Barnex Taylor.
No conflict.
No conflict. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. Could I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, is there any discussion? If not, all in favor of approval of the consent agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, Barnex Taylor.
Aye. Motion is carried. Next item is the citizen comments.
Citizens, those who have signed up, when you're recognized, please approach the podium. Your comments will be limited to 5 minutes. The chair will cut off all speakers exceeding their allotted time. If you have any questions of the board, you will receive a response from the board or county staff. The board will not respond or otherwise engage in a dialogue with you during your allotted time. Pursuant to North Carolina law, this time is allotted on the agenda for public commentary on county business. This is not an open forum to be publicly critical of the performance of any county commissioner or county employee, and the chair will maintain the order and decorum of the meeting. Ms. Rhonda Taylor.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And I apologize once again. I did this, I think, last month.
It's difficult for me to get the items on the agenda because I don't have them in a timely manner. But I just want to recognize, this is National Foster Care Month. And Governor Josh Stein has sent a proclamation, so I would like to read it. The state of North Carolina, Josh Stein, Governor, Foster Care Month 2025, by the Governor of the State of North Carolina, a proclamation. Whereas the youth of North Carolina are our most precious resources and hope for the future, and all children deserve safe, loving, and nurturing place to call home. And whereas there are approximately 10,454 children and youth ages 0 to 17 in the foster care system, there are approximately 898 young adults ages 18 to 20 in extended foster care in North Carolina. And whereas the purpose of foster care is to provide temporary, safe, secure, and stable homes through the compassion and nurturing of foster families or kinship families. Whereas foster families and kinship families open their homes and hearts to children whose families are in crisis and play a vital role helping children and families heal and reunify while launching children into successful adulthood. And whereas dedicated foster families and kinship families sometimes adopt foster children, resulting in the greater need for more foster kinship and adoptive families. And whereas there are numerous individuals, communities, and public and private organizations working to increase public awareness of the needs of children, both in foster care and existing foster care, awareness of the needs of children, both in foster care and exiting foster care, and of the enduring and valuable contributions made by foster care and kinship families. And whereas Foster Care Month is an opportunity to recognize foster parents, kinship families, child welfare professionals, and advocates working to ensure children's safety, performance, and well-being, and to spread awareness on behalf of the thousands of children in foster care in North Carolina. And whereas the state of North Carolina encourages people to volunteer their time, energy, and talents on behalf of the children in foster care and their biological families, kinship caregivers, foster parents during the month and throughout the year. Now, therefore, I, Josh Stein, Governor of the State of North Carolina, do hereby proclaim May 2025 as Foster Care Month in North Carolina and commend its observance to all citizens. It is, in witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and affixed the great seal of the state of North Carolina at the Capitol in Raleigh this 5th day of May in the year of our Lord and Savior, 2025, and the independence of the United States of America in 249. I just want to acknowledge, I do have one foster care worker, Mr. Tim Mitchell, please stand and be recognized. And I have another one, Karen Mooring, and I would like to say, I do believe we have 3 foster children. One is in the 18 to 21 program, and the other 2 are 0 through 17. It is difficult sometimes. We have to house them in the building. Sometimes they have mental and emotional needs that need to be met. And we've had to put them in Arizona. We have one in South Carolina, but we have to still take care of them. It is our responsibility, Northampton County's responsibility, to take care of Northampton County's children. So I would like to commend my staff for the great job that they do. Renee Maller is the supervisor of that unit. And as a matter of fact, June, we will be conducting our very first in a long time foster care parent class. So we do have several people enrolled, but if you would like to sign up to become a foster parent, please contact social services and ask to speak to someone in child welfare. The class will begin in June. So we only have one home in Northampton County, and we've only had that one home, and they're only able to house 4 children, and they have 4 in that home because we are allowed to put some children from other counties in that home. So I do want to say, please, if you have it in your heart, anyone listening to me, and you would like to be a foster parent, please, please, please contact Northampton County Department of Social Services. I thank you, Chairman Martin, because I didn't say this, Vice Chair Edwards, Board Member Edwards, and Board Member Broadnax Taylor, Mr. McKellar, Mr. Phillips, and Ms. Leslie Edwards, and Ms. Gatlin. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I do commend everybody that works with foster children and anybody that provides a foster home or adopts children. That is a very important thing that people that do that need to be commended.
Amen.
Richie Harding.
This is a little lengthy. I'm going to read this. On Wednesday, we will be going to Raleigh for a legislative day, as we will be going door to door. People from all over the state of North Carolina, we work together, the impacted communities against wood pellets. And we will be talking to lawmakers about some of the issues that's going on in the communities surrounding these facilities, these wood pellet facilities. And what we are asking is if you would join us in this quest. And this letter reads, "Dear legislator, I'm concerned about proposed changes to Enviva Northampton's permit. The new permit would allow Enviva to continue to pollute the air. It further endangers communities living near that plant in Garrettsburg, North Carolina. Soon, NCDEQ will hold a public hearing to hear comments on Enviva's proposed expansion. I ask you to join us in attending the public hearing in Northampton County. Urge NCDEQ to safeguard our community by opposing Enviva's request to expand. Ask them to require Enviva to install dust controls and reduce their noise so nearby residents can sleep. Enviva's pollution. Enviva built their facility in Northampton County more than 10 years ago. They built in an area zoned light industrial. The area is meant for industries that will not cause harm to surrounding residents. Yet NCDEQ gave Enviva a permit to build in this location. It's less than 1 mile from homes, churches, and businesses. DAQ should never have allowed Enviva to operate in a light industrial zoning area. Now Enviva wants to increase production. The proposed permit update would allow Enviva Northampton to increase its pollution levels. It would raise the legal limits for emissions of hazardous air pollutants. These include carbon monoxide, other volatile organic compounds, and fine particulate matter. If NCDEQ approves this permit, the Garrettsburg community will be exposed to higher level of harmful pollutants, continue to suffer from constant noise pollution. A history of violations. Enviva has a troubling history of violations across the region. Enviva Northampton has failed to address repeated zoning violations over the years. As recently as November 2022, Enviva Northampton violated their permit. Enviva exceeded their formaldehyde emissions limit. Formaldehyde exposure can cause irritations of the skin, eyes, nose, and throat. High levels of exposure may cause some types of cancers. Every Enviva production plant has violated their air quality permits. How can you help? NCDEQ should not allow Enviva to increase production. Enviva has operated on an air quality permit containing inaccurate information. Enviva has failed to comply with regulations. It has violated light industrial zoning regulations for more than a decade. The pending application provides an opportunity. Enviva must address the harm it has caused to local residents. Please support us by attending the upcoming public hearing in Northampton County. Join us in asking the NCDEQ to deny Enviva's Northampton expansion request. The existing permit must also require Enviva Northampton to stop nighttime operations between the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. Nearby residents need quiet to sleep. Enviva Northampton to execute a fugitive dust plan that protects residents from harmful dust pollution. Garrettsburg residents are looking to our leaders to safeguard their quality of life. Passing this permit will be an insult to every one of them. Please show your support by joining us in Northampton County for the public hearing. The actual day of the hearing will be scheduled soon. Thank you. What we're asking is, we're asking that each of our county commissioners sign this letter of support as we go to different lawmakers across the county to invite them to the permit hearing here in Northampton. As you may be well aware, Enviva filed for bankruptcy. They had originally planned to build a couple more facilities in the United States, but because of financial struggles, they were unable to do so. So now they are planning to expand the operations at facilities that they have. There is one here, one of the lines at the Southampton, Virginia mill has been shut down, but there's a couple more on the southern end of the county. So we're going to be asking those lawmakers to come up and to just show support to address this situation. As I said, the issue with the formaldehyde is gaining national recognition as Ben Crump and their law team are putting together a lawsuit against them for the high levels of formaldehyde that they are releasing, and DAQ did not step in to do anything about it. So I do ask you to sign this letter as we will be in Raleigh on Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Earl Daniels.
Before you start the clock, Mr. Chairman, I respectfully request to extend my 5-minute, the rule, and just go over the 5-minute rule.
I will look at how it goes, as we discussed the other day. I'll see how it goes.
Okay, I'll take that as I will proceed. Mr. Chairman, in the past, you have ruled that a show of hands by members of the board was unnecessary to a question regarding an important responsibility of the role of the commissioners. Specifically, the question pertained to the commissioner's knowledge of the content of the county attorney's contract. Tonight, I am asking two similar questions, which in my opinion are necessary to reaffirm the board's commitment to transparency and to further validate the board's integrity. First, with a show of hands, what board members have not, and I emphasize not, read the original contract between the county and the county manager? A no show of hands is evidence that you all have read the contract. Second question. By a show of hands, what members were not aware of the two amendments to the original contract? A no show of hands reveals a complicity in the amendments. I see no show of hands. Now I will share with you some key points of the original contract. Be advised, what I share with you, I have shared and consulted with a practicing attorney in local government matters. At the end, I will give you his opinion. The contract signed by Mr. Julian F. Phillips and Chairman Charles R. Tyner was signed and effective March the 7th, 2022. Paragraph 2 states, quote, Phillips shall serve as the pleasure of the county board of commissioners, and nothing in this agreement shall be prevent or limit otherwise interfere with the right of the board to terminate the services of Phillips at any time. However, termination by the county shall be subject to the provisions set forth in paragraph 3 of this agreement. Paragraph 4, quote, county agrees to pay Phillips for his services rendered pursuant hereto an annual salary of $115,000. Paragraph 6, hours of work. It is recognized that Phillips must devote a great deal of his time to outside normal office hours to the business of the county, and to that end, Phillips will be allowed reasonable time off as he shall deem appropriate during normal duty hours. Such time off shall not be considered annual leave. Paragraph 8, and listen closely, please. Quote, the county agrees to provide Phillips with dedicated access to a county-owned automobile for the performance of Phillips' duties. It is understood and agreed that this automobile shall stay on site at the county administration office when not in use, and shall not be used for daily commuting. Paragraph 11, residency. Philip, quote, "Philip hereby agrees to establish Northampton County as his permanent residency on or before May the 13th, 2022. The parties acknowledge and agree that in expectations that Phillips will work to become involved in the community after his move to the county. This is a good provision because it gives the manager a vested interest in the county. While I do not have a copy of the First Amendment to the contract, I do have a copy of the second, which makes reference to the First Amendment and its contents. And just this past Friday, I received an undated, unsigned copy of the First Amendment. The Second Amendment dated 4th day of September 2024. This is a key date because it is after the former chairman lost his bid for re-election. The amendment begins by referencing the First Amendment, which is alleged to be dated October of 2002. I believe this to be a typo error, meaning 2022. That amendment deleted in its entirety paragraph 11 of the original contract. Paragraph 11 pertains to residency. From May 13, 2022 to October 2022, Phillips was in breach of his contract with the county. The amendment does not rectify the provisions of the original contract, nor his breach of the original contract, because the amendment was not retroactive to May the 13th, 2022. In my opinion, that breach of contract violates the contract terms that will thereby warning Mr. Phillips' dismissal from county employment. The First Amendment also changed residency to be within 50 miles of the radius of Jackson. The Second Amendment, dated 4 September 2024, also significantly changed the terms of his termination, which I will not go into at the time. The final change of the Second Amendment that I bring to your attention was an attempt to rectify what I believe to be on the part of the county manager, fraud. The paragraph 8 titled Automobile Allowance, you will recall, the original contract required the automobile used by the manager to remain in the county overnight and could not be used to commute to and from work. The Second Amendment reads, quote, "The county agrees to provide Phillips with dedicated to a county-owned automobile for the performance of Phillips' duties, which may be used by Phillips at his discretion for daily commuting." Note the amendment was not retroactive. It is my contention that the time that Phillips used the county automobile for commuting prior to the Second Amendment was not only a breach of contract, but constituted what could be interpreted as an act of fraud. Accordingly, he should be required to pay for the use of our vehicle and refund to the county any reimbursement he received for operating from the time he started using said vehicle until September 24th, 2024. This breach of his contract constitutes the definition of fraud, in that he removed a county automobile from the county without written authority and did charge travel expenses for the vehicle to the county. These actions,
To wrap it up quick,
in my opinion, not only reveal the lack of personal integrity, but a lack of respect to the citizens of this county. Now to the
okay, you're starting to get a
opinion,
little bit into
Mr.
the
Chairman, you want to hear the,
direction of
would
the-
you like to hear the opinion of the lawyer I talked to?
I don't necessarily need to hear that right now. You can give us that and we'll look at it.
Okay?
Thank you.
Rachel Capel.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I want to thank y'all for everything y'all do for us. You listen to us when we need to. But right now, I would like to turn my 5 minutes over to Mr. Earl so he could finish.
I don't think that's allowed. That's not allowed by parliamentary procedure.
Can't yield time.
No. No, you cannot.
Congress, Washington DC, but you can't do it in Jackson.
No, you cannot.
I want to hear another attorney's opinion.
You can pass that on to me, but you've exceeded your time limit.
Chairman, I want.
And you were actually getting very close to overstepping the rules by alleging fraud and things like that. Becomes a personal attack.
It's in this attorney's comments, Mr. Chairman. I can give you exactly what he
You
said.
can give me a copy of that. We'll be glad to look at it.
I don't apologize for this, but I don't trust the board just to look at it and do nothing. I think that is wrong, and you should want to hear what another attorney has to say about the actions.
Okay, your time is up. We've heard you. Anyone else?
Sorry, those are all I have.
Next item is the EMS billing, excuse me, Health Department matters. Forgot we moved that.
Good evening,
Good evening.
and thank you for allowing me to step up my item. I come before you tonight to request approval of a MOU with the Health Department and Albemarle Regional Health Services for temporary CMARC service coverage. CMARC is a program that the Health Department offers, and it's for child management, case management for children at risk. And it's a program for eligible children 5 and under. This program coordinates services between the healthcare providers, community programs, and family support programs. So we have a CMARC coordinator that is employed with our health department, and she works closely with North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services staff and patients' insurance provider for oversight and to coordinate services. One of the stipulations in our Medicaid Management Care Organization contract state that it is required to provide continuous coverage for its patient in the CMARC program. Our coordinator will be going out on June the 9th. She's going to be going on FMLA. She will be gone for the full 12 weeks, and she will be coming back on September the 1st. It's going to be the full 12 weeks. So I come with you and ask for this MOU for ARHS to temporarily cover those services for us. They have done it in the past when we were vacant a position, so they are familiar with our county, our patients, our caseload, and the requirements that we already have to meet per DHHS standards. So I come before you just asking for that MOU for them to cover those services for that 12-week time frame.
So this needs action tonight then?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Vick?
Ms. Vick, do you think it'll be longer than 12 weeks in any?
No, and she's told me that she's going on maternity leave, and I've asked her, and she's taken her full 12 weeks, and so she'll be back. She's already prepared to come back, and she's ready.
Just didn't want to pigeonhole you to that. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
No, it's the full, and that's the cutoff date. She will be back on that first day of September.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the request from Ms. Vick.
Okay. Can I have a second? Any discussion? If not, all in favor of approval of Ms. Vick's request signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I, Brown X. Taylor.
Aye. Motion is carried. Thank you. Okay, now we have the EMS billing service agreement.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
First, thank you for making this an action item tonight. Our billing company, which is EMS MC, they're responsible for receiving our patient care reports throughout the year to appropriate the proper billing procedures, make sure that we're billing exactly what we need to be billing for. And that's based off our EMS care and the treatment that we provide. The current contract is a 3-year contract and is due in this month. With that current contract, it included some hardware and software that are now 3 years old. Hardware nowadays, every time you turn around there, you gotta get a new phone or a new game system, whatever. Nothing lasts forever anymore. So with that current contract expiring, we have a new one with EMS MC. The current one is at 5.2% is what they're billing us of the net. The new contract, which is also 3 years, this will include the new software, the new hardware, computer tablets, the mounts, et cetera, and that's 10 tablets. And also we're getting this year an EMS patient charting training. so all the providers can go through and make sure that we're appropriately billing our patients correctly. The new contract with all the new hardware has gone up to 5.9% from the 5.2% with a difference of 0.7%. So that's what I'm asking for tonight, is to go ahead and get this contract taken care of so we can keep billing and bill correctly and get the training and get the new hardware.
So this is the item you were discussing just previously in the budget. Said, okay, all right. Anyone have any questions?
No, sir. Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the EMS billing service agreement as presented.
All right. Any discussion? Not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I, Brian X. Taylor.
Aye. Motion is carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Board of Elections. Have a Board of Elections request letter. Is anyone here to? What this is a grant, it appears, looking at it. They're asking permission to accept the grant.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah. Does everyone see that in their booklet?
yes, sir. That's
Correct. And this is a grant for $42,100 for software upgrade, and they're seeking authority of this board to accept that grant award.
Okay. Anyone have any questions about it?
I'm good.
Not, can we have a motion to give them approval to accept the grant?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I, Brian X. Taylor.
Aye. Motion is carried. They can accept the grant. Okay, Trillium Annual Report.
Good afternoon. Do you have the
Good evening.
presentation?
It's good to be coming on the screen.
Should be. Okay, there you go.
All right. Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for allowing me to come. My name is Bobby Lowe. I'm the Regional Vice President with Trillium Health Resources. So I'll just give you some information on what's been going on this past year. There we go. So just a reminder, Trillium, we don't provide the direct care services. What we really do is help people access and connect to various services that are in their community. We review the requests that come in for services. We really operate as a public health plan. That would help, wouldn't it? The on button? I'll try that now. All right, I can't operate these, y'all. I'm trying. There we go. Okay. So just an overview. We cover 46 counties in North Carolina. For those of you who have been around for a while, you have seen this map change and grow and shift and change. Right now, we cover 46 counties. We are the largest of the 4 tailored plans in the state. And while we are the largest with counties, we are not the largest in population. Not really close with that, but we do cover the largest land mass in the state. So as we have grown and shifted and changed, one thing that has been really important is to make sure we keep our local connections. Before we operated with 3 different regions, now we operate with 5. Northampton continues to be in our northern region. Each region has a regional advisory board. Every region has a consumer and family advisory council. And our governing board is made up of people from our Consumer and Family Advisory Council and our regional board. Every region has a regional vice president, community engagement and empowerment staff, and community liaisons. We also do a lot of work trying to work with different stakeholders in the community in all of the different counties we work in. So for Northampton County, for our board representation, we have Dr. Edwards. He is a county commissioner on our board. We actually still do have that 1 vacant seat for Northampton for a non-commissioner. I'm the regional vice president. Terrell Austin from a few counties over, he is the community empowerment person. And Annette is your community liaison. She does a lot of work out in your county. So I was gonna just have Annette talk about a few different things that she's done here in Northampton.
Good evening, commissioners and all. Thank you for the opportunity to share some of the work I've been able to do as community liaison in Northampton County. I've been in this position in Northampton for a little bit more than a year. I am a part of the child protection and child fatality teams with Northampton County Department of Social Services. And as of July 1, those teams are going to become one combined team per legislation. I'm also part of the adult multidisciplinary team with Northampton County Department of Social Services, looking at making sure that the needs of vulnerable adults in the county are met. I am a part of the Northeastern North Carolina Domestic Violence Task Force in a leadership role, and Northampton County is included in that task force. I was able to work alongside of our training department and Ms. Rhonda Taylor from DSS to bring our Supporting Children Early simulation to the county a while back, and give participants an opportunity to see what families go through when they're trying to navigate the system with a child with disabilities. I'm trying to see this without my glasses. I am a part of the Hartford Northampton Opioid Crisis Coalition, which is also called HNOCC. And coming up as a part of DSS's Elder Abuse Prevention Month, I'm going to be on the panel and have the opportunity to speak about mental health and older adults. And I appreciate the opportunity to be able to share some of my work with you all tonight.
So even though our map has changed a lot and we're a lot bigger, we're still trying really hard to make sure we're staying connected in our local communities. Some just general information. This is the entire 46 counties. There were just over 80,000 people who received services. Those services came to a little over $800 million. And this data is from July to December. So you heard my predecessor talk about tailored plan for a really long time. That went live in July. And so that's why we're specifically showing that data. Uh-oh. Well, there we go. Okay, so that's the data for the entire region, and I'll give you Northampton specific data in just a minute. So just a reminder, as a tailored plan, what that essentially means is we operate as a public health plan. For individuals who have Medicaid, who have some of the more severe mental health needs, substance use disorder, intellectual developmental disabilities, we help them access health care, physical health care now, behavioral health services, really total health care. We act as their public health plan. They receive tailored care management. We really try to work with those individuals. We also have, in North Carolina with the Medicaid transformation, you have what's called standard plans. Those went live in July of 2021. And what that means is for a lot of people who have Medicaid, their health care is now managed by one of these private insurance companies listed. One thing, when we rolled out our tailored plan, we learned a lot of lessons. I think one of the things we did a lot of town hall meetings in our new counties. And what that made us realize is we haven't done that in our original counties in a while. So within the next few months, next year or so, you'll hear us talking about town halls. And we would really love for your support to get people to come out and share their needs with us with those. Kind of the process for this whole Medicaid transformation that started in 2021, those standard plans went live. We rolled out in July of this year. The next big change with Medicaid is going to be the foster care plan. That's going live in December of now 2025. And what that means is for those youth who are in foster care, their health care will be managed by Blue Cross. They're the ones who are going to be operating that child and family specialty plan. There we go. All right, so let me skip to the next one. So this is just Northampton County. When I talk about the different Medicaid plans, who we manage and who is managed by those commercial plans, here's that data for you. For people who are on the tailored plan managed by Trillium, it's about 7% of people in Northampton County with Medicaid. It comes to 466 people when this data was taken. As you can see, the majority of people, their health care is managed by those commercial plans, and we're really focused on people who have those highest level of need. I've already talked about the town hall. I got my slides mixed up in my head. But that's what I was speaking about, the town halls we did with our new counties. We're going to be rolling those out in the near future with some of our original counties. Some updates on some projects. We've been able to do some substance abuse prevention. In Northampton County, we had, in the school system, we had Sold Out Youth rolled out with the high school. And that's a program that really focuses on fentanyl education. That's been available to the school for the past year. You heard about the simulation we did here in the county. We also have a mobile clinic that comes here a couple times a month, and people actually can go to that unit and receive behavioral health services right out of the van in the parking lot. We had a picture of Dr. Edwards touring that not too terribly long ago here in the county. So for the people served in Northampton County, it was 489 people from July to December, about 381 for mental health, 98 for substance use, and 60 for developmental disability. And the 489 is an unduplicated number. And that's all I have. Any questions?
I have a question, Bobby.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you all let people know when your van or your bus comes, your mobile bus comes? How will the citizens, how do our citizens in Northampton County know what days you're coming?
So the provider has a calendar that they share. They typically put it out online. They share it with different stakeholders.
Okay.
And they try to do it that way in case anything changes. People don't go thinking they're going to be there. They try to keep that updated online and get that shared with people. But word of mouth is also great. So if people see it, you can typically drop in too.
What is the biggest thing still impeding the access of care here in Northampton County?
So I don't have any data to say what that would be.
Okay.
And so let me say this is a Bobby Lowe comment.
Please.
I think stigma. I'm a firm believer that stigma continues to be one of the biggest barriers. If you need to see a psychiatrist or a therapist, you're not going on Facebook and saying, hey, who should I go see? You know, there's still stigma that associates with behavioral health needs and addiction. So I think the more people can have conversations and normalize mental health, that mental health is just part of health. I think that's one of the barriers we really have to get over as a society so people are comfortable seeking treatment. I mean, we also have those things like transportation, living in rural areas. We have our barriers from that, as we all do. But I really think stigma it's a real struggle still. It's getting better. But there's still stigma out there, and I think it's still a barrier.
Do you think we could work on that stigma in our schools, like in our school area, in our school system, like with our counselors, when they provide mental health services to the kids that they serve there? Do you think that would be a way to help
So I,
Stigma?
yeah, I think definitely, but I also do think kids learn at home.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's not a one size fits all. You do need that at school.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe that our schools have gotten, they're much more welcoming and understanding of mental health needs now.
Absolutely.
But I think as a society, we really have to focus on that a lot.
Thank you so much for all you do.
Thank y'all so much for your support.
Thank you.
Ms. Law, I just want to say thank you so much. It's always a pleasure hearing all the good things that Trillium is doing this, and when you look at providing services here in Northampton County. Mental health is crucial in this county, and thank you for always keeping us up to date in the meetings and sharing across the county.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, next is the Juvenile Crime Prevention Council.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
So in your packet, there is the 25-26 funding plan for JCPC funds. This is a program that is filters through from the North Carolina Department of Public Safety to Juvenile Crime Prevention Council. The money flows through the county, we pay the expenses, and it consists of 4 different programs, including Children Matters, Vocational Jobs, Parenting Wisely and Teen Court, and Second Chance Counts. And there is a new program this year called Opportunity Youth Metro. So the funding that is provided, there's always a 10% match per program. That total funding is $10,090, but the total amount of grant funding is $141,850. And that $10,000 is already included in our upcoming budget that was presented by the county manager. So this is just to be presented for informational purposes. We will need a signature on this to approve the funding plan.
Okay.
And then I also too, 24-25, there was a change to the funding plan for the current program. And Ms. Gatlin handed that out to you all because that was not included in your packet. The only thing that changed, at the end of the fiscal year, JCPC sometimes has some discretionary funds that another program may not have used. So they allow Children Matters to have an additional $4,000 in discretionary funds. So the amount that you see on that top line for $26,836, that was originally appropriated at $22,836. So that is discretionary funds. No county funding will change or increase. That's coming directly from the North Carolina Department of Public Safety. So that was just for informational purposes.
Okay.
And I'm next on the agenda, so I'll just stand here until
Okay.
you're ready.
Anyone have any questions for her about this before she goes into her next item? No? Okay. Finance Department matters.
The first item I have is Budget Amendment number 35. Budget Amendment number 35 is very similar to the budget amendment I presented at the last meeting. I have made corrections to Budget Amendment number 13 through Budget Amendment number 23 that have already been completed by the previous finance director. All of these, except for one, are for insurance payments that were posted to the wrong revenue line. So we're just updating that line in front of the board as required by our budget ordinance and general statute. Do you have any questions about number 35?
Okay. Oh, had them in wrong order. Anyone have any questions about 35? The 269,000. Okay.
Okay, the next item I have is Budget Amendment number 36. This is all for new funding the county has received. I'm just going to go through each line. For the first item on revenue is for the sheriff's department. And then you'll see at the bottom as well, there's expenditure lines that match those. These are for vehicle damages that we received funds from our insurance company totaling $35,846. The next item, or the rest of the items, are for the health department. We received $10,774 for investment in performance management. The next item is the health department received ARPA funding for addressing lead in schools in the amount of $3,000. The health department also received child fatality case reporting funds for $1,263. And then we have miscellaneous revenue that was received from Blue Cross Blue Shield. They donated some funds to purchase medical supplies at the health department for $1,250.
Anyone have any questions about this budget amendment? Okay, you need action on these tonight.
That would be, since
Okay.
we're getting so close to the end of the
Right.
fiscal year, yes.
Can I have a motion to approve the two budget amendments?
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the two budget amendments as presented.
All right, any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Broadnax Taylor.
Okay, motion is carried. The budget amendments are approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, county manager, comments.
Hey, good evening, everyone, again. I don't have a whole lot of additional comments over and above what we already talked about in the budget workshop. I just wanted to shout out Leslie. I didn't know until today, but she is a SKE skills knowledge, what's it called, expert? Skills knowledge expert. And why is that significant? We were paying the CPA for the last 3 years for that qualification that they can review our financial audits, because after the auditor's done, the LGC put made it mandatory that you have a SKE to come behind and certify those audits. So she has that designation, and we were already talking to our CPA, Jeff Best, about transitioning him out. So that'll be an expenditure that we'll be able to diminish in the next couple of months. So I just wanted to say kudos, and I didn't know that, but that was a wonderful surprise tonight. So I just want to shout out Leslie for that. And again, I do thank each and every one that comes out every night. We're always interested in your comments, your concerns about this county. That's what it takes to show that you are committed. So if you're committed, we'll always be here to, do our best to get this county where it needs to go. So thank you once again. Y'all have a safe evening. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll have board comments. We'll start with Ms. Broadnax Taylor.
I'd like to say good afternoon and thank the citizens for coming. On Saturday, I had the honor to attend the Northampton County Early College graduation. And at that graduation, there were 41 graduates, and they received, I don't even know, they received so much money. I hope I know how to say the number. They received $3,650,884.90 in scholarship money. They also received the valedictorian of the class received $250,000 for the Gates Millennium Scholarship. That was Joanna Gonzalez Oglin. Joanna Gonzalez Oglin. that didn't even include, them 3 million, that didn't even include that. So I want you all to know we got some of the most smartest young folk here in Northampton County. So I was very, very proud to be there with those young folk on Saturday. And let me also let you all know we got several other graduations coming up in our area. On the 30th of May, we have Northeast Academy. Their graduation is at 7 o'clock in the gym. Miss Wanda Briggs Trevino is their principal there. We have Conway Middle School on June the 5th at 6 o'clock p.m. Mr. Darren Parker is their principal. We have Gaston Middle School on the 6th of June. That is at 9 o'clock a.m. Miss Ivy Creasy is their principal. On June 7th, we have high school, Northampton County High School. Dr. John Milner Williams is the principal there. That's 10 o'clock in the gym there. And then we have KIPP Halifax. They're going to have their graduation ceremony on the 13th of June, and that's going to be at Halifax Community College at 6 p.m. So we have plenty to do with young folk. So I'm inviting you all, I'm bringing that information so you all will be informed about what's going on with the young people in our county. And again, thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you. Edwards?
Yes, I'd like to thank again, thanking everybody for coming out. Sounds like we really have some good programs here in the county. I'm proud to be part of these programs. And there's a lot of you citizens that are helping us make the right decisions and make the decisions for making this a better place. Thank you for your comments. And don't get me wrong, I do hear some good comments once in a while. So I think this whole team is trying to do their best, so keep the comments coming. We'll do our best. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chairman Edwards?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, everyone, for coming out, and hope all the mothers had a great Mother's Day here in the month of May, as we have just going and continuing on in the month of May. And Teacher Appreciation Week, Commissioner Barnett-Saylor talked about all the graduations coming up, but in May, we celebrate Teachers Appreciation Week, and we certainly thankful for all the teachers here that educate our students to go on and be the professionals that they're going to be. I also want to say Memorial Day is coming up. Hope all the workers and everyone have a great Memorial Day. Mr. Chairman, that's all my comments. Thank you.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming out, and as Vice Chairman Edwards said, it is Memorial Day weekend coming up, so be careful. Sometimes we tend to drop our usual guard when we're on vacation and stuff and get into accidents and things, but everyone please be careful and have a nice vacation. And I'd like to thank Ms. Broadnax-Taylor. She gets around to everything. She's retired, so she's got a little more time than me, but I appreciate her being present at so many things and representing the board. And thank all of y'all for coming out tonight. Now, could we get a motion to go into closed session
Move to go in closed session.
per that? Yes.
GS 143-318.11A6 personnel.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Broadnax-Taylor.
Aye. Okay, we will now go into closed session. Thank everyone for being here.
When do you need to sign by, Mr. You go tomorrow?